Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Randy Rex Show. We're going to talk about The Traitors, Season 4, Episode 7. I hope that, if it's not with The Traitors, you are finding some sort of lighthearted joy in the world right now because it is much needed. And yeah, welcome. Another big show came out this week, this month, or this past month. Wonder Man. What a great show. If you don't know what I'm talking about, and if you don't have Disney Plus, figure out a way to watch the show because it's a really good show. I don't know. I'm sure it's maybe out there if Wonder Man is going to be in the Avengers movie later this year, but he should be. I hope he is. I do not know how to pronounce that actor's name, and I will not attempt it right now because I'm horrible with that, and I know I'm going to sound like an idiot because I couldn't even spell it out, so I couldn't even try to pronounce it right now. He's so good. He's so brilliant that I need to learn how to pronounce his name. Obviously he's a famous actor. He's a great actor. He's obviously gotten that recognition before in the past, and it's a big deal that he is in this movie or in this show taking on this role. And I loved him. I fell in love with him. Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin. They were great in the show. Everyone else was great in the show. I want more. So basically, Wonder Man is the show about this superhuman who has superpowers, and the government agency in the MCU is tracking him, and they're using Ben Kingsley to get to him because he is a struggling actor in California trying to make it in the business. He gets whiff of this Wonder Man show that they're rebooting, or it's a movie. In the show, it's a movie that they're rebooting and that they're casting for. By happenstance, he meets Ben Kingsley, and they befriend each other. They become very close. They help each other with the acting stuff, and then it becomes more as the show progresses. I don't want to give away too much because it's such a great show. Even one of my cousins reached out to me about it, and he had watched it before I did, and he was like, this does not feel like a superhero show. So if you are kind of like anti-superhero, that stuff is definitely in there, but it's very subtle. I'm not. There's an episode or two. There's a handful of episodes. There's a handful of parts of the later half of the episodes where it is superhero heavy, but even still, like, the show is just so good, and that's why, is because it is grounded in a way that doesn't feel like what we are used to getting with these sorts of things. Superhero fatigue is a real thing. Obviously, recently Catherine O'Hara passed away, and it's a very sad, and it's something that I just wanted to talk about because everybody's talking about it, and she was such a joy. And ironically enough, I am in the middle of a Schitt's Creek rewatch, and I have to say, that show and everyone on that cast is such an inspiration. I'm not crying, I have allergies. And of course, Catherine, you just see them going for it. And you see the love that they have for the craft and comedy. That transcends. And even the jokes that you hear that made you belly laugh the first time you heard them. Obviously you're hearing them the nth time. Like, this is probably like the third or fourth time I've rewatched this series. But some shows are like that. Some jokes are like that. Where the whole team was able to craft this story, this show that impacts you and touches you. And even if it's not a fresh joke that you've heard for the first time, the comedy and the joy resonates, and it still brings a smile to your face. It may still even bring a actual chuckle out. Like, that kind of joy stays with you. And it's very sad to know she's gone. Obviously she was in Beetlejuice, and the Home Alone movies. So those are a lot of touchstones for a lot of people. And yeah, rest in peace, Catherine, and my condolences to your family and friends and loved ones. We start off with a banquet, and we hear Lisa talking about who she may target for her murder in plain sight. Of course, I'm talking about the amulet, the beautiful red rubied amulet. Whoever she gets to touch it first is the one that is murdered. So we go through that, and we see Lisa's half of the murder. It's done. Alan comes in and he lets us know that it's done, but he also lets us and the players know that there's still a chance for the murdered person to be safe. There are 2 potions, 2 chances for safety. So all of the players must discuss who they want to give this safety to. And chaos erupts. And I hate it because it's surrounding our girl, Natalie Anderson from Survivor. Kristen of Top Chef fame drinks 1 potion, and it becomes a battle between Tara Lipinski and Natalie. Natalie has the potion and she drinks it because it's already down to the wire. Of course, it doesn't really matter because that's not who Lisa got to touch her amulet. Another gamer bites the dust. That's right, Jam Jam. Jam Jam was the one she got to help her adjust her amulet. It's revealed. And the, I don't know what you call them, 2 of the henchmen there pull his chair from the table. He gets off of his chair and they pull him from the banquet. He's murdered. He's gone. No more Jam Jam. As he's leaving, though, he's like, Lisa, I kissed her on the cheek, or she kissed me on the cheek. So he's thinking it's this. And Lisa's like, what? But how? But why? No, I didn't kiss him on the cheek. I air kissed him. So I never kissed him on the cheek. And then this becomes a whole thing where Lisa uses that as a defense to downplay this calling out of her game by Jam Jam. She's like, I never kissed him. I air kissed him. I air kissed this person. I air kissed that person. Like, no. They cut to the breakfast the next morning, and it was pretty juicy. We're starting to get into Carolyn Danielle areas of gameplay from last season now. Whereas the first three into the breakfast are Rob, Lisa, and Candace, are traders. And of course, they can't help but use this opportunity to question Rob. And of course, Rob is trying to defend himself. And it is just falling completely flat with Lisa and Candace. And rightly so. I get where they're coming from. They're trying to emphasize with him that this is a game. They're his people. And he should protect them at all costs. And we hear from Rob, and he tells us it doesn't make sense for him to do that if Lisa's already hot and he steps in to defend her and she turns out to be a traitor. He's gonna look like an idiot. His game is gonna be put out there. I see both sides. I would definitely have to side with Rob R in this situation. And, you know, he's such an interesting character. He is definitely breaking out as the star of this season. You know, there's Lisa, there's Candace, the other traders. There's even faithfuls like, oh gosh, who is a popular faithful? There really isn't such a huge, giant popular faithful out there. Maybe like Dorinda or Tiffany. Point being, there, you know, he's just huge. He is being compared to Dylan from last season. And, you know, no disrespect to either one of them. Nothing but love to either one of them. I'm just, like, not on that, like, fanboy train of them. And, like, I see a lot of people, like, lusting after Rob R, which is, you know, again, to each their own. I'm not siding with him here because of that. I just want to clarify, like, I agree. Like, I would do what he is doing. I think that's what you have to do as a trader. At a certain point, you have to try to get the other traders out. You know, and if you don't, even if you're not actively trying to get them out, I think there does come a point where, like, I don't know, it's hard to say because, like, I want to say, you know, you don't do anything. You're passive. Which is kind of what Rob is telling the girls that he's going to do. They're like, well, what is y'all's game plan for today? And Candace is like, well, you know, my game plan is to do damage control. And Rob is like, well, I'm just going to do what I normally do. And Lisa's like, no, I don't think that's going to work today. You're going to need to be a little bit more active. And so the thing is like, I get her saying that to him, but she could have said it a nicer way. She could have brought it as like a question and like a plea of help. As like a fellow trader, like, hey, you're my comrade, can you help me out in this situation? Instead of like, hey, no, you need to quit doing that. You need to do this. I think that she would have had a little bit more ground to stand on had she approached it that direction. But I do get why she's so hot. He just voted for her. It was 1 vote off. Like I mentioned in my last episode, like, had one person switch their vote, Lisa would have been gone last episode. But so yeah, other people come in, they talk about the whole jam thing, accusing Lisa talks to Colton about how, you know, she is not a traitor and how she doesn't want to have to defend herself. And Rob's like, hey, can we just have breakfast? Almost like it was going to break out into a fight between Lisa and Colton, and it probably was. Even though I really didn't see him doing much to her. Maybe he's just that sly. It could be that. It could be the edit. But there's that. They go into their next challenge where they're basically at the bottom of a giant hill. they have to climb up the hill to like this place where they have their treasure chest. Along the way to the treasure chest, there are going to be these designated areas with gold, and they basically have to collect this gold along their way. Alan even gives them gold to start with, and there's even a spot in the middle checkpoint where they can chance it, throw the gold that they have, and try to hit a little lantern hanging in a little tree or something. And if they do that, they get so much gold. But again, like, you have to, if you don't hit it, you lose that gold. It's like gone. You cannot get it back. So there's that. Finally, when they get to the area where their chests are at the top of the hill, they have to put their gold in a chest. It could be theirs, it could be another player's. So you see some players that don't have a lot of gold to give their gold to like their friends, and the top 6 gold holders are eligible to win like this dagger. And this dagger grants you 2 votes at a round table within like the next 4 round tables. So you don't have to use it this round table. Or the next one. I think the top 6 are something like Rob R, Colton, Steven, Eric, and then I really don't remember the other 2. But Rob, it's Natalie and someone else. And so like everyone leaves except for those 6. 5 of them get a little tablet, a little actual like old school tablet, and it has an image on it. It's either going to be an X or the dagger. So 4 of them have the X and 1 of them has the dagger. Rob R, who has the most gold out of everyone, gets to question all 5 of them, and he has to suss out who has the dagger. So he does this, and he asks everyone very basic questions like, what's your name, what's your favorite color, stuff like that. And then he'll like ask them if they have the dagger, and he's like, these are things that I know are like true, like I know your name, so when you're telling me the truth, you look like this, your mannerisms look like this. And then he's gonna compare that to when they answer if they have the dagger or not, and like that's his way of deducing who is the dagger holder. And apparently, he tells us he's a human lie detector, so he really feels confident going into this game, and he picks Natalie. And I don't know if it was the edit, but I just did not feel confident. Like, Natalie seemed not confident in herself in the questioning, and then he picks her, and then so like she gives Rob her tablet. Alan tells Rob to look at it, not to tell anyone, and it's the effing dagger. She had the dagger. I'm so disappointed, especially because people are really talking about Natalie now because of the way she was really advocating for herself to get that potion for safety. So this is not looking good for our girl Natalie. So yeah, no one knows. Alan tells them, somebody has the dagger right now. The 6 of them go back to the castle. Before they go in, Rob is like, look, I trust all of y'all. I have the dagger. Let's make a pact to not tell anybody who has the dagger. And they all agree. And Rob tells us he's using this as a opportunity to gain trust and to gain allyship with these people, and so they can feel like a team, which is very smart for him as a traitor. He is very smart, and I am very impressed with his gameplay. Really, no one is talking about him as a traitor. So we go into the round table, and right off of the bat, they start talking about Natalie. And I think it is Lisa or Candace that brings this up. I don't really remember. But I do remember thinking, and even my cousin said this is a mistake of them to be talking about this right off of the bat. for whatever reason, it just feels like whatever they're talking about in the towards the ending of the roundtable is what really gains traction. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a handful or even more examples that people could readily cite where that is not the case. But I know that, I don't know, maybe it was just the brilliant editing over there at Traders HQ. But there was just something about the way Natalie was brought up right away at the round table. I'm like, okay, this kind of makes me feel a little bit better about her. Like, I don't feel like she is going to be really a strong contender to go home. And, they do turn it around to Lisa. And they start talking about Jam Jam calling her out. And of course, Lisa defends herself. Candace kind of steps in and defends her. They bring up, they kind of shoot it down with, well, what is the point of Jam Jam throwing Lisa out there? He's out of the game now at this point. It serves him no good. And they vote, and really, so Natalie, I think she only got 2 votes. And majority of the votes go to Lisa. She stands up. She lets them know that she is a traitor. And she does her little Lisa Rinna walk. She looks fierce as fuck. And everyone is freaking out. They're so excited that they got a traitor. We then see... Okay, so no, wait. There's this whole thing in the voting where Candace does go to looks at Natalie and is like, look, you've made a lot of good points. I don't really think you're a traitor anymore. But I don't think it's Lisa either. So I have a throwaway vote. And I voted for Rob. She's so evil. And I'm sorry, but I do love Candace. I was never a fan of hers on Potomac, but she has officially won me over the same way Lisa Rinna has won me back over, and even Dorinda a little bit. Maybe not as much as the other two. She hasn't got a lot of screen time, but hey, the season's not over yet. But yeah, so, Candace and Rob clocked that shit right away. So we end the episode with both of them throwing each other under the bus with their respective people. And we even hear them talk about how they are not going to stand for the other one, basically undermining them and going against them and thinking that they're running the show. And we even see in next week's preview that they are going at it. So this is going to be crazy. Because still, at this point in the game, you would think that the next episode, the traitors are not going to murder. They're going to recruit. And you would imagine, given where they are right now, that they are not going to agree on the same person. This is a lot of me guessing, but if that's the case, then let's say there's no recruit, then there's no murder. I think that's going to be a punishment for them. If they can agree on who they're going to recruit, so no one is recruited, but no one is getting murdered. I could totally see them doing that. And I think it might just be them going at it. And them going at it until one of the other ones is banished. So it's going to be a very interesting episode 8. I am very excited where we're standing. I think, what is it now? We're at the top 12. We have 2 traitors and 10 faithfuls. So this is getting spicy. This is getting juicy. I know that I said that I don't think that they're going to agree on a faithful to recruit. But if I were to hypothesize on who they would or who they should recruit, I think it would be smart for them to recruit somebody like Johnny or Tara, or even no, not Steven, because he has a lot of heat on him. He kind of got a little bit more of a spotlight this episode. He got more spotlight. He's been somebody that's been super in the background up until now, and people are now starting to talk about him, given his closeness with Lisa and some other people, and just some other little things here and there. For instance, Lisa gave him her gold for this challenge with the gold. But yeah, I think that they should go for like a somebody they're already working with, so it can be but see, they're not working with any of the same people, but ideally that's who they should be recruiting. So like, even I think like Johnny included Candace and Rob in that final 7/8 core faithful majority at the round table. It was them, it was Steven, it was Moira. So they could even pick Moira. I think that if they did that, at least it would be something like, if it was Johnny, I think that would be the ideal pick. That would be difficult for him given his relationship with Tara, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think if they picked Johnny, they're already working together. He already sees them both as allies. So hopefully he would be able to like mend any bridges, any fences, and get Candace and Rob back on the same page. But it's hard because like, if they pick anyone else like Colton or Natalie, who already has heat, or even Steven, who has heat on them, it would be odd. If I were Natalie, Colton, or Steven, and they picked me as a traitor, I'm like, okay, they're already talking about me as a traitor. I'm a faithful. Now I am a traitor. Like, you're gonna have to work like a million times harder to get that heat off of you and to keep it off of you, because it's already on you. And now you are a traitor. So, I'm very excited about where we are. I'm very excited about where it's going. This has been a great season of The Traitors. I love it. I guess that's it. Bye.